I mean, the league was built on the backs of talented black women like yourself. I mean, these white girls come along, right? Cameron Adler, Caitlin Clark, and they're instant superstars.
The one bit where all these white girls come along and they're instant superstars, it's only Caitlin Clark that was the instant superstar.
You gotta admit, there's something special about her game, though, right?
Yeah, she's white.
Their argument is that she's popular because she's white. Then why didn't Stewie turn the W on its head after winning 4 natties with UConn? Why didn't Sabrina turn the W on its head after being called like a media darling?
Here's what Caitlin Clark could do. Y'all come at me like this, I'm not doing any interviews with you. Y'all keep coming at it with these dumbasses, Monica McNutt. I'm done with you. I'm not doing interviews with you. We'll go play in the Unrivaled League, and let's see which league gets going. And then let's see where the hell we're at. Your dumbasses at ESPN want to get up there and be racist as hell towards me. I don't participate in racism. Next time I hear that bull, we ain't playing in a game that you're televised.
Just when you thought the hate against Caitlin Clark couldn't sink any lower, mainstream TV has now entered the ring, dragging her name into fictional drama with real-world consequences.
Here we go again. Why is Caitlin Clark popular?
People aren't spending 3 hours of their time to watch Caitlin Clark play basketball because they're racially motivated.
In a shocking moment that aired just minutes ago, Law & Order crossed a dangerous line, using Caitlin's name not to honor her historic rise, but to smear her character in the most passive-aggressive way possible.
Yeah, so she was good with that elbow you threw at her face?
I didn't say she was good with it, but she joked that it was good for the game, that it would get us lots of media coverage.
She may have a whole bunch of turnovers, but she does things in a way that you haven't seen. She does things that are exciting to watch.
But this wasn't just a throwaway jab. It was a calculated swipe, wrapped in subtle bias and jealousy.
There's the two sides who think she is only popular and does have the notoriety and recognition that she does because she is white. There is the other side that says, you guys are crazy, you're all jealous of her, and she is just talented.
And it's ignited a firestorm of outrage online. Why is a woman who broke college records, revived the WNBA, and carries herself with undeniable class being vilified like this?
If it was because she was white, Sabrina Ionescu would have changed and brought the WNBA and turned it on its head, but she is not turning the W upside down on its head like Caitlin Clark is.
Why are they so desperate to tear her down? This isn't just about one TV show. This is a cultural backlash rooted in race, power, and pure envy.
You stand up to bullies. You don't acquiesce. Because when you acquiesce or apologize, it will never stop. You stand up to bullies. You tell them go F themselves.
And listen, if you stand with Caitlin like I do, then drop Unstoppable CC in the comments right now. Let the world know you see through the hate. Let them know we're not staying silent, because this is bigger than sports, and we're breaking it all down, right now. The moment the Law & Order SVU episode aired, social media lit up. In the episode, a fictional college basketball player was subtly compared to Caitlin Clark.
When's the last time you heard about Law & Order? That Law & Order scene cannot be written without Caitlin Clark. That mention cannot happen without Caitlin Clark, because you couldn't say it for Elena Delle Donne or Brianna Stewart or Sabrina Ionescu or Sue Bird or Paige Beckers.
A standout white athlete who gets special treatment and is the media's favorite. The character wasn't named outright, but the resemblance was undeniable. The storyline followed a black player who allegedly faces backlash and consequences, while the white player is portrayed as getting a pass.
So there is an episode of Law & Order that was just aired on April 10th, and it's called Bubble Wrap. It is season 24, episode 18. I think that a lot of people, myself included, are very tired of this narrative when there's so much proof of the reason Caitlin Clark being popular, and it is because what she does on the court.
To the casual viewer, this might seem like just another dramatic plotline, but to those who followed Caitlin Clark's journey, the message was crystal clear and offensive. Let's be honest, Caitlin has never asked for special treatment. She's earned her spotlight by delivering record-breaking performances night after night. She's not a media creation. She is the moment.
Clark's popularity and the reality of the fans that are celebrating her is so different than what you see on social media. You never hear, "Go white girl!"
Yet the episode subtly implied that her success is somehow unfair or unearned, as if she's being handed fame and favor due to her race. What's worse is how the writers twisted reality. In truth, Caitlin Clark has been the target, not the beneficiary of unfair treatment. She's been pushed, elbowed, targeted on the court, and called out for things others are praised for. She doesn't whine or retaliate, she rises. But here comes a primetime TV drama, erasing all of that and crafting a narrative that says she's part of the problem? This isn't just bad writing, it's deliberate distortion. They didn't come for her game. They came for her character. And why? Because Caitlin Clark's dominance is threatening to those who believe success should only come in one color, one style, or one narrative.
There's just so much statistical data to prove why people are invested and interested and can't stop looking at Caitlin Clark. Like, she has broken a record for records. As a rookie, she has done things nobody else has done. Stats do not require race as a prerequisite. They just are what they are.
This wasn't about fictional drama. It was a strategic cultural jab rooted in deep-seated jealousy and racial tension. And the timing? Perfectly calculated to stir division, right when Caitlin is carrying the WNBA into the mainstream.
There are women that were worthy of coverage prior to her arriving, and I just will not be silenced when it comes to that.
You don't have leverage all the time. And when you do have leverage, like Caitlin Clark has, you damn sure better use it.
When Caitlin Clark took the sports world by storm with her outstanding basketball skills, it wasn't just her performance on the court that captured attention, it was the way the media responded to her success. As one of the brightest stars in women's basketball, Caitlin has been a trailblazer, but her rise has been met with not just admiration, but also intense scrutiny.
It all comes back to Caitlin Clark's popularity. I believe it is based on basketball more than anything else. Look at what went viral from the Letterman clip, her playing basketball.
The problem? Caitlin's white and the media's treatment of her as an underdog and hero stands in sharp contrast to how similarly talented black players are portrayed. This brings us to the disturbing depiction on Law & Order, SVU. The episode's focus on a white player being lauded by the media while a black player struggles with unfair treatment on and off the court could not have been a more loaded comment.
Caitlin Clark mentioned on Law & Order.
You've been talking trash about her for a while, right? Saying that she was a joke, that you were going to kick her ass.
Come on, man. It was just talk.
Look, I get it. I mean, the league was built on the backs of talented black women like yourself. I mean, these white girls come along, right? Cameron Adler, Caitlin Clark, and they're instant superstars. Everybody's saying they put the league on the map.
And they're getting all the endorsements and sponsorships. Yeah, it's messed up.
You got to admit there's something special about her game, though, right?
Yeah, she's white. But I hear you. Cam could play. I had a lot of respect for her.
Really? Just didn't look that way.
It was a big game. We're both really competitive, and we got into it. But that was it. We even talked after the game for a bit, cleared the air.
Yeah, so she was good with that elbow you threw at her face?
Couldn't say she was good with it, but she joked that it was good for the game, that it would get us lots of media coverage.
Why? Because it taps into a painful and divisive narrative that black athletes are undervalued and that their success is often overshadowed by those with lighter skin. It's a direct attack on the achievements of black players, while conveniently disregarding the true nature of media bias. But Caitlin Clark, her rise has been much more complex than just being a media darling. Yes, the media have given her attention, but she's earned every bit of it.
And Caitlin Clark does have a further three-point range than even Steph Curry, and that is just kind of bonkers. Think about how popular Steph Curry is. Caitlin Clark shoots farther away on average than he does.
She's proven time and again that her hard work, skills, and leadership make her an undeniable force in basketball. Yet the portrayal of her as getting special treatment feeds into an age-old narrative of jealousy. The jealousy from those who see her as a threat to the established order. Why? Because Caitlin has broken barriers in a space that's not always kind to women, especially women who excel at male-dominated sports.
Caitlin Clark made the comments to Time magazine. Monica McNutt recently said on BBC, perhaps a big reason for Caitlin Clark's popularity is she's white and from the Midwest.
The Monica McNutt stuff, and specifically with this level of media, we're talking about with ESPN, their issue with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark represents Trump America, MAGA America. They see her and they say, this is someone that everybody who roots for probably voted for Donald Trump, and I hate Donald Trump, and I hate those red hats, and I hate everything that represents to me. Because to me, that represents racism.
Now let's talk about race. It's no secret that black athletes are often held to a higher standard. If a black player shows aggression, they're painted as troublemakers. If they get in a dispute on the court, they're labeled as hot-headed or undisciplined. But Caitlin Clark, she's shown fiery competitiveness, and instead of being criticized for it, she's been celebrated.
Prevailing narrative that has been created around this season's WNBA play is that it's the league versus Caitlin Clark, and that is just absolutely false. It is unfair to the women that have been there building this league to this moment so that Caitlin Clark's popularity could take it to the next level.
There's a method to this madness. When given a chance to talk about Caitlin Clark, they're always going to racialize it and try to demonize Caitlin Clark's fan base.
Why? Because her actions fit the model of the white girl who plays tough but gets away with it. It's a troubling stereotype that reinforces the idea that black players, especially black women, can't express that same aggression without backlash. What does that say about our cultural views on race? That when a white woman like Caitlin Clark excels, she's seen as the exception to the rule, even though she's dealing with just as much pressure and aggression on the court as any of her black counterparts.
She's different. She's a white girl from the middle of corn country.
They like Caitlin Clark because she's not a victim, because she doesn't seem to be angry. And so they find her relatable.
Yet when someone like Angel Reese or A'ja Wilson shows the same level of intensity, their efforts are often questioned, with people wondering if they're too emotional or too aggressive. It's clear that Caitlin's portrayal in this episode wasn't just a casual coincidence, it was a reflection of the broader systemic issue that black athletes face, not just in sports, but in life.
Every single one of you WNBA players, you better pray that Caitlin Clark doesn't get injured, because she's keeping your league afloat.
Juju Watkins goes down with a devastating injury that might keep her out next season. God forbid. If the same thing happens to Caitlin Clark, the WNBA will not survive. You have one young woman carrying the entire league.
The subtle implications of the episode suggest that the media favors her, but the truth is far from that. Caitlin Clark's rise is a result of tireless work, grit, and unparalleled dedication to the game. She deserves every bit of the attention she receives, and more. However, this doesn't diminish the struggles faced by black athletes. The issue isn't that Caitlin Clark doesn't deserve recognition, it's that the system is broken. It's that black athletes are often robbed of their due credit and their achievements are downplayed or ignored entirely. Caitlin has been fortunate to be in a position where her race hasn't played a role in how she's been recognized, but that doesn't make it right.
Former black players have decided, hey, we're going to hate on Caitlin Clark constantly to elevate ourselves, but also trigger her fans so that they'll keep coming to games and rooting for her, and it's going to elevate the entire league.
It just highlights the deep-seated issues that still pervade the sports industry and society as a whole. This episode didn't just hurt Caitlin, it hurt all of us who are trying to break free from racial stereotypes and biases. The very fact that the episode chose to depict a white player as a victim of media favoritism, while a black athlete struggled under the weight of systemic oppression, was a stark reminder of how far we still have to go in terms of racial equality. It made clear the way the media, the public, and even TV shows continue to perpetuate harmful narratives about race and success in sports. It was a subtle slap in the face to not just Caitlin, but every black athlete who has had to prove their worth over and over again.
She's not Angel Reese, who can barely make a layup. She's not A'ja Wilson, who is 6'4" or 6'5" and completely unrelatable to most women.
The episode didn't acknowledge the fact that Caitlin Clark is facing the same pressures and obstacles as any black athlete, if not more, due to the challenges that come with being a woman in a male-dominated sport. It didn't acknowledge the long-standing racial disparities in media coverage or how black athletes are often asked to bear the burden of being perfect, while white athletes are given more room to breathe and make mistakes.
And little girls said, hey, I can relate to Caitlin Clark. She's like us. She has a boyfriend. There's a lot of parents that feel real comfortable taking their kids to a game.
By choosing to ignore these dynamics, the Law & Order SVU writers sent a dangerous message. They suggested that Caitlin Clark, by virtue of being white, is somehow getting away with things that black athletes would never be allowed to do. But the truth is, Caitlin Clark's success is not the result of race. It's the result of her undeniable talent, her relentless drive, and her commitment to excellence. It's the result of her ability to rise above the hate and obstacles put in her way, much like so many black athletes have had to do in their own journeys. This episode might have tried to frame Caitlin Clark's success as something to be questioned, but all it did was highlight the growing tension between race, media portrayal, and talent in sports. We should be applauding Caitlin Clark for what she has achieved, not tearing her down with narratives that have no place in today's world.
Number one revenue sport in America, what do you think it is? The NFL. How much you think they make? $17 billion. The NBA, a little over $11 billion. You guys are a $150 to $200 million company. You're operating at a loss every single year. You've never made money. It's called a zombie company. You're subsidized by the NBA.
Caitlin Clark's life on and off the court has been a balancing act between unparalleled success and the often unforgiving pressure that comes with it. Her accomplishments have cemented her as one of the most talented basketball players of her generation, yet that same success has led to a growing sense of jealousy and resentment, both within the sport and beyond.
And this is further proof of that, because it wouldn't have made its way onto the show if she didn't play in the WNBA.
The Law & Order SVU episode is just one example of how that resentment is manifested, but it doesn't begin to scratch the surface of what Caitlin faces daily as a white woman in a sport that's dominated by black athletes and often characterized by racial tensions. What the media and the Law & Order scriptwriters conveniently overlook is that Caitlin Clark's rise to fame was not handed to her. It was earned through years of practice, sacrifice, and dealing with pressures most athletes will never experience.
She's not playing with anger. She's not playing with a sense of entitlement. And yes, people find that relatable.
Despite being a natural talent, Caitlin had to overcome the stereotypes and expectations placed on women in sports, especially women in basketball. Her physicality, her scoring ability, and her mental toughness made her stand out, but they also made her a target. From day one, Caitlin has been at the mercy of public scrutiny. As a white woman excelling in a sport where black athletes traditionally dominate, her very presence on the national stage has stirred up deep-seated resentments. Whether it's the constant comparison to men's basketball, the casual dismissal of women's sports, or the subtle and not-so-subtle ways she's been told she's not allowed to be as aggressive as her male or black counterparts, Caitlin has had to fight for every inch of respect.
What happened is Caitlin Clark in her sophomore year and really in her junior year just started excelling and doing things that nobody had ever seen a female basketball player do. Like nobody had consistently been shooting these from the logo passes.
She shoots logo threes, passes the ball like Magic Johnson, scores a lot of points, leads the league in assists. She's a great, great player, and she plays and shoots and releases the ball like Steph Curry. So there's the attraction to the exciting style of play.
She's been forced to prove that her success is just as legitimate as anyone else's, and yet the media often frames her as a golden child in ways that don't reflect the grit and resilience required to reach the top. In contrast, black athletes, particularly women, face the unique burden of being expected to not only excel in their sport, but also represent their entire race. Their success often becomes symbolic, carrying with it expectations of cultural representation and societal change. When Caitlin Clark rises to prominence, it's celebrated, but when a black athlete like Angel Reese or A'ja Wilson achieves greatness, their accomplishments are often dissected through the lens of race and identity in ways that Caitlin's aren't. This racial double standard feeds into a sense of resentment and, in some cases, jealousy that Caitlin has to navigate.
Monica has figured out a way to make the WNBA relevant and profitable long term. The lady from the BBC, she seems to be asking Monica McDougal how the WNBA can maintain their momentum from last season. There's an easy answer to that question. More than likely, they can't.
Two things. I think it has to show up in our storytelling, and it has to be encouraged by our families.
Yeah.
To me, right? And so covering the WNBA this past season, Caitlin Clark's rookie year, for all of the conversation that surrounded her, some which was fair and some which wasn't, the one thing that I cannot deny is the amount of little girls that were showing up to follow her. Little girls with their parents and the fervor and the energy there.
Why her?
Same thing.
Why her?
Well, I was just about to say same thing for Angel Reese when I had a chance to cover their games. But I think Caitlin represented And again, some of this to me probably is not fair to her because it was not anything that she said or was truly based on her personality, but she was a white girl from the middle of America. And so she represented a whole lot to a lot of people, whether that is truly what she prescribed to or not. We can all say she is a dynamic basketball player and a force both on the court and the marketing sense. But I do think same thing with folks that may have fallen in love with Angel Reese that may or may not have agreed with everything they had to say either. We attach our fandom to these icons for all types of reasons.
Where are these Angel Reese fans? When I see Chicago Bravado games on TV, the only things I see are missed layups and empty seats.
Caitlin has faced her own battles with this. Behind the scenes, she's confronted comments, assumptions, and even attacks from people who question her legitimacy in women's basketball. When she took the spotlight in the NCAA, her fiery personality and unwavering commitment to winning made her a lightning rod for both praise and criticism. Her trash talk, her dominance on the court, and her ability to take over games often rubbed some people the wrong way. Yet, when she did it, it wasn't seen as a character flaw, but as part of what made her so exceptional. It's a contradiction. For many black athletes, the same behavior would be deemed unsportsmanlike or disrespectful, and they would face much harsher scrutiny. This disparity highlights the implicit racial biases still deeply embedded within sports media and fan culture. The episode of Law & Order SVU further perpetuates this idea by presenting a character who exhibits the qualities of a successful athlete but frames them as something to be mocked or undermined.
Caitlin Clark is relatable and popular, and people want to see her play because she's exciting as heck to watch and because she's not filled with anger. People are attracted to joy.
By including a white athlete like Caitlin Clark in a narrative that suggests she benefits from favoritism in the media, it casts doubt on the legitimacy of her success without offering the same level of questioning to athletes of color who face even more significant hurdles. Caitlin Clark has had to prove herself constantly, but when you're a white woman, that hard work often gets diluted into something that seems too easy. The narrative in SVU feels like an attack on her credibility, her journey, and ultimately her value in the basketball world. Jealousy is an emotion that has many faces, but one of the most insidious forms is the kind that emerges when someone perceives their success as unattainable. Caitlin Clark has been labeled many things in her career: a prodigy, a superstar, and influencer in women's sports. But these labels come at a price. They invite intense scrutiny from commentators, from fans, and from colleagues. In Caitlin's case, it's not just her skills that are under attack, it's the perception that she has somehow been given an advantage because of her race. While the SVU episode attempts to criticize her media portrayal, it unwittingly highlights a larger issue: how race plays a pivotal role in how we view success in sports. One of the most frustrating aspects of Caitlin's portrayal in the media is that no one seems to acknowledge the kind of emotional and mental resilience she has to possess to not just compete at the highest level, but to do so while being scrutinized every step of the way. It's easy to look at Caitlin Clark and say she's on top. She's the face of women's basketball, but the reality is far more complex. Being in the spotlight means enduring an avalanche of criticism from people who want to see you fail, simply because you've succeeded in ways they don't think you should have. This double standard isn't just about how Caitlin is treated by the media, it's about how she's treated by those who are jealous of her success and resent the fact that she's earned her place on top. It's easy to diminish her accomplishments and try to paint her as an entitled athlete who got ahead because of her race, but doing so ignores the years of hard work, sacrifice, and sheer willpower it takes to make it to the top in any sport, especially one that is as physically demanding as basketball.
Right, and that's what a lot of these women are doing, is they feel like what we have done for this game, this young player has come into our game, and she's getting way more respect and all that stuff than we are. As she should. The young girl is a baller. The young girl has people watching because of the way she can shoot this basketball like Steph Curry. Steph Curry can't dunk. Steph Curry don't do none of that in the game. He can probably dunk by himself, but he don't really do none of that in the game. He is a shooter, and fans tune in to see Steph Curry. When I look at Caitlin Clark, fans are tuning in to watch her. And you know who that's helping? everybody else. It's helping the Asia Wilsons. It's helping everybody else, the Plums, all that. It's helping all of them, the Tarasis.
Moreover, the portrayal of Caitlin Clark as someone who benefits from media favoritism is problematic on a deeper level because it detracts from the very real issue of how black athletes are treated in the same industry. The reality is that black athletes, especially women, face challenges Caitlin could never imagine: racism, gender bias, and the constant pressure to be perfect. They don't have the luxury of being seen as golden children or being given room to make mistakes. When a black player like Angel Reese or A'ja Wilson exhibits emotion or aggressiveness on the court, they are labeled too much. But Caitlin, her fiery competitiveness is often praised and celebrated, even when it crosses into territory that others are penalized for. So, the narrative that the Law & Order episode tries to push, that Caitlin Clark is unfairly praised because of her race, is not only inaccurate, but it completely misses the point. The real problem isn't that Caitlin is receiving too much media attention, but that other athletes, particularly black women, are not receiving the recognition they truly deserve. This is a deeper conversation about race, media representation, and the systemic issues that persist within the sports industry and beyond. The jealousy and resentment that Caitlin faces from some of her peers and from the media are symptoms of a larger issue. Caitlin's rise to fame should be a testament to her hard work and determination. Instead, it's been clouded by unwarranted criticism and jealousy. And unfortunately, this Law & Order episode only adds to the misunderstanding. By framing her success as an issue of favoritism rather than acknowledging the strength and resilience it took to get there, it sends the wrong message to viewers.
It almost felt like marketers were trying to figure out, like, yeah, we have all of these amazing players and these amazing personalities, but can we push the demographic? And then when Caitlin Clark got to the league, the Angel Reeses got to the league, and they might have been fouled hard. The same thing I saw happen with Shamika Holdsclaw, though.
You see my tooth knocked out?
Yeah,
Rookie season, Jewel Lloyd. My tooth knocked out. I still didn't get it fixed.
So how do you?
It's cool.
T-Clark, how do you feel about the fact that all of a sudden it was, oh, it's too physical. Oh, they're going at them because they're stars. What was your reaction to some of the new viewers and fans to the game thinking that the WNBA was too rough?
It was a crazy season because we have never had so much momentum behind our league, so much support, demand, viewership, all that, accessibility. But the craziness that came with the new fandom was rooted in something other than fandom, right? And I think that's very evident to see across the board. In a lot of ways, it has not been about basketball. Like, we can talk about, you know, people getting fouled. I just showed you my tooth getting knocked out. Like, that's been a part of the game. The game has always been physical. I can tell you the amount of times I've left with bloody lips and eyes. I have bruises all over my body, even from the game last night. You can see bruises on my elbow from last night. Like, it's just a part of the game. So there was no targeting, there was no nothing.
Right.
That narrative that got spun into, oh, the vets hate the rookies hate the vets are going after certain players. It's all bullshit. Like, if I'm just gonna be frank, like, it's all bullshit. What it is racism, right? It gets blown up into, oh, they're going after Caitlin Clark, but no, we're just playing one of the best players that's in this league the way that any other best player, franchise player is gonna get played.
Mm-hmm.
Watch how Stewie gets played. Watch how A'ja gets played. Watch how Arike gets played. Watch how Khalid gets played. Go down the list of franchise players for every team. They be getting fucked up every game. It don't matter what position you are, what color you are, what school you came out of. This is how we feed our families. Our job is to go and win, and if we don't win, what happens? We get fired. We lose our jobs. So
facts. Caitlin Clark is getting mauled, no calls. Ryan Clark is a clout chaser that stinks at sports commentary. His co-hosts aren't worth mentioning. Natasha Cloud, aka Natasha Clown, is running the race baiting media because she's average at best in the W, and now she's stuck in Connecticut because she stinks.
As we wrap up, it's clear that Caitlin Clark's story is one of overcoming immense challenges, both on and off the court. The Law & Order SVU episode may have painted her success in a misleading light, but the truth is, Caitlin's rise to fame is a reflection of her unparalleled talent, relentless work ethic, and sheer determination. She is not a product of favoritism, but rather an athlete who has fought tooth and nail to prove her worth in a world where success is often dictated by bias and jealousy. It's important to recognize that the hurdles Caitlyn has faced, both from the media and from those who feel threatened by her success, are rooted in deeper societal issues. These challenges aren't just about race or gender. They're about the fear that comes with watching someone succeed in ways others can't. Caitlin Clark has earned every accolade she's received, and her story should inspire, not be diminished. Let's remember that the real problem here isn't the spotlight on Caitlyn, it's the systemic inequality that affects athletes of color, particularly women, and how that jealousy and resentment manifests in subtle ways, even in popular media.
Who's going to be the next face of the NBA? We don't get to decide that. The marketplace decides that. The people have chosen Caitlin Clark. They enjoy watching her play, her style, her energy, her shot. Whether it's because her game mirrors one of the greatest players in the NBA in Steph Curry or not, I don't know what it is. It's an intangible thing, right? Yes, we can say she's a dog. Okay, there's been other dogs. Okay, she's a great shooter. There's been other great shooters. She has it. She's got the thing. I remember when the WNBA started. I was thrilled. I was a fan. I couldn't believe it was an opportunity for me, a 5'2", 97-pound girl, to go play professional basketball. That wasn't gonna happen for me, but the idea that it existed was special to me. And now she's offering that to not just little girls, but little boys as well. She's spread the fan base.
So what do you think? Do you agree with the way Caitlyn has been portrayed, or do you think the narrative surrounding her success needs to change? Leave a comment below with your thoughts. I'm really curious to hear from you. And remember, if you stand with Caitlyn and want to see more positive representation of strong athletes who've earned their place, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content. Stay tuned for more deep dives, and until next time, keep supporting the athletes who deserve it.